Hi, today I'm going to walk through how to set up an instructor-student relationship on MyFlightbook. An instructor-student relationship is nothing more than two accounts that have been linked together in which one of them is designated as the instructor and one is designated as the student. Note that you could actually have two instructors who occasionally give flight reviews to each other or otherwise provide instruction to each other who have two relationships, one in which each one is the student in one of the two relationships. But most of the time this is useful if a student is undergoing primary training or otherwise going to be having a series of interactions with an instructor. And the real value here is that it allows the instructor in the relationship to sign flights in a digitally secure manner, to issue endorsements, and to otherwise track the student's progress over time. So I'm going to be switching between two browsers here, where one browser is set up in the instructor's account and one is set up in the student's account. I'll try to keep that clear so it's not too confusing. But I'm going to start here from the student's account and just show how to set up the relationship. It's really just as simple as providing the instructor's email. So I'm going to go first here under the training tab. You can see instructors and students. If I click on instructors, I can see the list of the instructors who I already have and a spot where I can type in the address of a new instructor. And what I would do is I would type in the address and click add instructor, and an email gets sent to that instructor inviting them to be my instructor. That's all there really is to it. It's exactly the same process from the instructor perspective. The instructor can invite a student to come onto MyFlightbook and set up that relationship. It works exactly the same way. So in this case, if I type in instructor at myflightbook.com and click add instructor, it would send an email. Now I'm actually not going to send that right now because I've got that email right here that's already been received. So here's what the instructor receives. It says, Eric Berman has invited you to be their instructor on MyFlightbook. If you know Eric, please confirm this by visiting. And this went through Hotmail, and so it did a lot of munging on the URL. But you just click on this link, and when you do, it says, please confirm the relationship. Another pilot on MyFlightbook has asked you to confirm that you are an instructor of theirs. If you recognize this request, please confirm below. Now, in this case, I already have an account and I'm already signed in on that account and all set up as an instructor. So if I didn't already have that account, it would have asked me to create one. I'm going to click confirm, and that's all there is to it. And so now you can see that under my students, I see Eric Berman, and if I switch back to the student account and go refresh my instructor list, you'll see that Eric Master CFI is now on the list. So let me switch back here to the instructor side of things, and I have one option here, which is view add endorsements. And so this allows me to give an endorsement to my student. So if I click that, I can fill in a custom endorsement, or I can pick from just a huge list of existing endorsements that are commonly used, and it just saves me having to remember the wording of it. So for example, in this case, I could do a complex aircraft warrant endorsement. So I could say, I certify that, and you'll notice it's filled in the name automatically because it knows who the student here is. Holder of certificate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has received the required training in a Mooney M20J, and I've determined that he or she is proficient in the operations and system of a complex airplane. And if I hit add endorsement, then you can see existing endorsements for Eric Berman. Here is the endorsement down here. And if I switch back to the student account and go to endorsements and scroll down a little bit, you can see here is the complex endorsement that was just issued. Now, one of the more useful things for having a student-instructor relationship is signing flights. So let me show two ways that you can sign a flight. The first is request signatures, and I can choose that over either here on the left or under the training tab. And this is pretty straightforward. So the idea is, oh, we flew last week and you forgot to sign my logbook, or we didn't have this relationship set up yet, so I need you to sign the flight from last week. So what I can do is click Request Signatures, and again, I'm in the student's logbook here. And here's a list of all of my flights that do not currently have valid signatures on them. And I just want the one from the other day. I can click Next. And again, I can use just an email address if I don't yet have the relationship set up, and that will set up the relationship as part of the signing process. Or in this case, I'm going to choose this new relationship, and now I don't need the email address. The system knows the email address. So I'm going to click Next. And it's just confirming what it's going to do. I'm going to say Finish. And what that did was now that sent an email to the instructor's account with a link saying, hey, your student has requested that you sign some flights. So let's switch over to the instructor account and take a look at students. And look at that. See here where it says flights awaiting signature. Here is the flight that I just requested. And if I click that, it takes me to a screen where I can review the details of the flight to be signed. I can add some comments. Nicely done. Watch the airspeeds. Whatever. You'll notice I don't have to enter my certificate number or expiration because it just pulled those from my account. And again, I'm in the instructor's account here. And then I can click to sign the flight. And then the flight is signed digitally because I have to authenticate myself to the system in order to be in the instructor's account. It's actually a stronger form of signing than doing a little scribble signature. Though there are ways to do that I'll talk about in another video. There's also this checkbox down here that's kind of nice. It says add this flight to the CFI logbook. And if I check that box, then when I sign the flight, a copy of the flight will be added to my logbook, the instructor's logbook. And it's smart enough to do things like swapping the dual time and the CFI time and adding the student's name so that I know who I was giving instruction to. So I'm not actually going to sign the flight right now. There's one other way that you can request signatures. I'm going to switch back to the student account here. And what I can do here is I can go to my instructor list. If I click this box that says allow to view my logbook, I'm giving permission to my instructor, which you can see I can revoke at any time just by unchecking that, to take a look at my logbook. And then they can sign any flight that they want that is not already signed. So I'm going to switch now back to the instructor logbook to show what it looks like from their end. So if I refresh this page, see right now I haven't refreshed yet, it just has view or add endorsements and flights awaiting signature. But if I refresh the page, I have new options. I have view logbook and view progress towards rating. So if I say view logbook, now I can see the student's logbook, and you'll notice over here, see it says logbook for the student. And you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, next to each entry, it says sign this entry. And so I can find a flight that I need to sign. And if I click that, it again takes me to the page where I can sign the flight. So this is a useful way for an instructor to do batch signing as appropriate. The other thing that I can do as the instructor here is view my students' progress towards ratings. So for example, if I click that, so there's progress towards ratings for the student here, Eric Berman, private pilot rating, airplane single engine land, and I can see how the student is doing against the required flight experience. In another video, I'll show how you can use the mobile apps to do signing face-to-face, which is useful for when you're debriefing at the end of a flight, where you don't have to each be on your computer and have email going back and forth to each other. But I hope that this video has provided a good overview for you of the value of and the capabilities of having a student-instructor relationship set up. Thank you.